He's a senior figure in the NDC and one of Peter Obi's closest political allies. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you, Charles, for having me. Good evening.
Good evening to you. Now, your party says this is an assault on democracy, but the court says something much narrower, that the original judgment was reached without hearing a party whose legal interests were directly affected. If that is true, isn't the court simply correcting a procedural defect rather than targeting the NDC?
That is a very unfortunate situation, because the judge who delivered the first judgment on the 10th of December 2025 cannot tell Nigerians that he was not aware of PMP in the judgment he delivered, because in that judgment he delivered, he dismissed an objection put forward by INEC, because INEC first said the NDC logo was similar to that of the APC, All Progressives Congress. When that one was not flying, they brought another counter affidavit, started saying that the logo of the NDC is similar to that of PMP, Peace Mass Movement or something like that, party. And it's the same judge that said that that purported PMP in his ruling, in the judgment, that is not a registered political party and therefore cannot be used to stop the registration of NDC because of the logo INEC was contending was similar to that of NDC. So in this judgment referred to, the judge has made a finding in December 2025 and dismissed the PMP logo as being a reason for not registering NDC. So if he had considered it and rejected it as a reason for not registering NDC and ordered that the party should be registered, what is the reason behind this new action saying that NDC was not a party? Well, when he determined that, why didn't he order that PMP should be joined in the matter?
Well, all he did
he should have done that. No, he should have done that. If a necessary party was not before a judge, and he believed that he cannot determine that matter without the presence of that necessary party, he has a liberty to order that the party be joined.
Well, that's what he's done now. He ordered that the matter be heard again with all necessary parties before the court. I mean, why does the NDC regard that as an injustice rather than due process? I mean, if it took him a while to get to carry out due process and he finally came to that realization, why should it be considered an injustice?
The judge told INEC that the law did not permit it to approbate and reprobate. And that is what exactly what he has done in this ruling of 26th of June. This thing didn't happen just 1 month ago. He delivered his judgment on the 10th of December 2025. This is June 2026. And what he did not put before Nigerians was the reason for him to ignore the effect of the order he made that NDC should be registered by INEC. It was him that compelled INEC to register NDC, and INEC complied, registered NDC, and gave a certificate of registration with which it commenced operations as a political party. And ever since then, he is aware that this political party has started functioning, doing all the things he needed to do to take part in the 2027 general elections. He didn't do anything.
So that's more your bigger concern.
Yeah, that's
the fact that
where is the interest of justice in this matter?
It's placed uncertainty in your party months before the general election.
Exactly, but what I'm saying is that he should have weighed the consequence of his going back now to withdraw the order he made 6 months ago. Because that order he made has borne children. It has produced effect. INEC has obeyed it, complied with it, did not appeal against it, registered the party. And the party went to the Nigerian public, and people started coming into the party in droves. and the party started participating in the electoral process, all the timetables given for the election. Because if he hadn't ordered INEC to register NDC, it wouldn't have existed. So the NDC was the creation of the order of this Justice Asa Dashin. Coming to it, look at what NDC has gone through in the past months. The party has been able to go through digital registration of new members. It has been able to do congresses and convention electing officers. It has been able to do primaries preparatory to nominating candidates for the 2027 general elections. And it has concluded the entire thing as at 30th of May. Candidates were produced for all the 36 states of Nigeria, including the FCT. Then on the day, the INEC was to issue access code for political parties to upload list of their candidates. Because INEC monitored all the primaries. That same morning, the judge now took everybody by surprise and said, no, this party, the registration, the order I made is now here withdrawn.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that it is not as simple as that. You have to look at the balance of justice. The PMP that he premised his review of the judgment and withdrawal of the order he made is not a registered political party. It is not taking part in the electoral process. It is not pretending that he has anybody to nominate to take part in the 2027 general elections. The party does not exist. It's not a party, so-called. It's an association. It's not registered by INEC. So by striking with the hot knife at the eve of the day you start uploading names of candidates that will take part in the election, what justice is he doing to PMP? Nothing. Of what benefit is his order to PMP? Nothing. Except to disable the NDC from taking part in the election.
If the association, as you put it,
yes,
has claims over the logo, obviously it affects the party, it affects the association.
No, that is where it is wrong. The victory sign is a global sign. It doesn't belong to anybody. It doesn't belong to PMP. I listened to Sireke Dixon, the leader of the party, yesterday. He mentioned people who have been using this logo. Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi used it. Awolowo used it. No, I'm coming.
Using your
if you have
using a victory sign,
it doesn't belong to anybody.
Yeah, but using it is different from that becoming the logo of your party.
If your party is registered,
if it's mistaken for another logo.
If your party is registered with that logo, it becomes your property. This association did not meet registration criteria in 2015, and after 5 years of an application, everything will collapse.
Yeah, but
they don't own it.
Yeah,
the logo does not belong to PMP because it does not exist as a political party. It's only when you register this victory sign and INEC registers you with it, nobody can use it again.
Right, but
because it now belongs to you as a political party.
Yeah, what I'm trying to look at here, I understand the emotive aspects of what you're talking about and the, enormous inconvenience that it would cause the NDC and all the members of the party and all the people who've come in and so on. But I think the issue here is about legal reasoning. Your party argues that once the court delivered judgment in December, it became functus officio and had no jurisdiction to revisit the case. That's why I'm focusing on that issue.
Yes.
But legal authorities make a distinction between judgments on the merits and judgments affected by procedural defects or default. That distinction is what is being applied here.
No, it cannot be. That's what I'm telling you. Let me read it. It's a paragraph in his old judgment, the first judgment he delivered. Look at it here. Page 8 of the judgment he delivered initially. He said, I must also observe that the defendant's own counter affidavit introduces a new and inconsistent basis for the refusal of registration, namely a purported similarity between the plaintiff's logo and that of a different political association referred to as the Peace Movement Party, PMP, which was admittedly never communicated to the plaintiffs prior to litigation. This attempt to shift ground is in direct conflict with the reason earlier given in Exhibit NDC, which mentioned similarity with the APC logo. A party is not permitted to approbate and reprobate. The law will not allow a litigant to blow hot and cold on the same matter or to put forward mutually destructive positions in order to meet the exigencies of the moment. He made this finding with PMP's logo. If PMP logo was anything that would have prevented him from making an order that NDC should be registered, he has come to that finding.
Right.
But he dismissed it. So he cannot. This is a finding on merit.
Right. But
so on this finding, he is bound by it.
But you know,
he's the one who said that this is a purported political association.
Well, you know, the law is very, tries to be as precise as possible.
Yes.
You've gone to the Court of Appeal, haven't you?
We have gone to the Court of Appeal.
Right. What is the strongest legal error that you believe that Justice Dashan made? Is it jurisdiction, is it procedure, or is it interpretation of the law?
Total miscarriage.
That's what they're going to be looking at the Court of Appeal.
Total miscarriage of justice. Total miscarriage of justice. The only ground that he can use, or some grounds that he can use to listen to somebody who has a complaint against this judgment, will be if the person who is beneficiary of this judgment obtained the judgment through fraud, or misleading the court. Have you seen it? Or that the court had no jurisdiction at all to deliver judgment in the matter or hear the matter. These three things are absent.
Yeah, but
he did not allege.
You should have brought the CTC of his most recent judgment.
No, but I have it.
Yeah, you should have brought it so that you can compare it
there's nothing to refer to there. There's nothing to refer to that. It is even in your newsroom here. They can bring it here.
Yeah, but
there's nothing to refer to. This one is the one important to me.
But
that he himself made a finding during trial that the PMP was not a registered political party.
Well, let's look at the consequences.
He discountenanced it. INEC flagged this as a perennial objection.
Right.
That this logo is similar to that of PMP. This judge, in his considered judgment, dismissed it.
Right.
So he was not misled by NDC in making the order. So the only thing that is available to any person who has anything against this judgment is to appeal against it.
Right. Okay.
It's not by asking him to review it. He has no power to review this judgment because the elements that would have entitled him to do so were absent. Fraud, deceit, or lack of jurisdiction.
Yeah,
but in this case, all these things he has now talked about, the PMP he has premised his ruling upon by himself. He dismissed it in the judgment.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to see what happens in the appeals court. Yeah, because some lawyers have argued that in a situation where there is a procedural defect,
which one is
that the judge
can you
has
make it? Well, I mean, that's precise. That is rhetoric. No, they are saying procedural error. What is that procedural error?
They're saying
what is that error?
The people who were party to this case.
Yes.
The original judgment was reached without hearing a party whose legal interests were.
They have no legal interest.
That's what he said.
Absolutely untrue. So there's no legal interest.
Well, I mean, you're saying it's untrue. That's what he said.
An association, an association that is not a political party in a process like this has no legal interest because they have no pending application for registration. Last year, 171 political associations applied for registration as political party. All of them, if you go through number 1 to 171, you won't find PMP in it. So how is their right overreached?
No.
Because
well, let me put it again. I'm not a spokesman for them, but it is our job for the benefit of the audience, the public, to understand the situation better.
Yes.
It is our job to put forward as much as we possibly can the other side of the story. If another party or group or association genuinely claims the logo or identity under which the NDC was registered, shouldn't that party have been heard before a court made orders that directly affected its rights? I mean, isn't the constitutional right to fair hearing owed not just to the NDC, but to every party whose legal interests may be affected by the judgment?
If you don't know about the existence of that association, how will you join wind in a matter that is ongoing?
I don't know what you mean by that. If you don't know the existence,
PMP has no legal status. It's not a registered political party. In the list of associations,
there's not a case against you.
No, they didn't bring.
That makes it legitimate for them to be heard.
They didn't bring. What they did is that they brought an application to the court to set aside the judgment the court has entered because they are claiming that they exist. There's nothing showing that they exist. In the register of political parties in Nigeria, PMP is not there. In the list of associations that applied to be registered as political party last year, 171 of them, the name is not there. How do you go and join nobody in your matter? It's only if you're in existence. Then somebody who knows about your existence and has interest in a thing that will affect you will be bound to join you.
Well, that's a bit dismissive, given that they in fact exist.
You can't just go to court and join the whole world.
They clearly exist.
You cannot go to court and join the whole world. The whole world will not be necessary.
That is for a court to decide.
Yeah, they will decide.
Let's move on and talk about the practical implications for the NDC.
Yeah.
The lawyer for this peace movement party, which is what they are called, argues that once the judgment was set aside, every action flowing from it, including your certificate of registration, automatically falls away until the substantive case is determined. You obviously agree with that
I disagree because the ruling is resting on wrong premise.
That's for a court to decide.
I'm telling you, we're discussing what the court has done now.
Yeah.
The Court of Appeal may see it differently, may even affirm what they have done. But I'm trying to say that in this matter we are discussing today, PMP is not in existence.
Yeah, but if you made that point
this judgment,
before, I'm concerned that time is going.
Take one more point.
Right.
This ruling that has been given on Friday, what benefit does it confer on PMP? Can you tell me? Well, they're not in existence.
No, but they're not doing anything. That is not for you to determine.
No, I'm telling you now because they're not participating in the election.
That's almost patronizing.
They have been used. Let me tell you, Charles, they have been used to truncate the participation of NDC in this election.
That's an allegation.
That's what it means. Because let me tell you, I'm telling you, when we moved into NDC on the 3rd of May, Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, some of us, on the 3rd of May. On the 4th of May, they woke up. I went and filed an application to set aside registration of a party that has existed for about 5 months.
You may well have a point. But you need to prove it. It's a different thing proving something in a court of law. Yes. And that's what the issue is here.
No. The point I have made to you is that this association has no legal claim.
Yeah, well, you made that point, but that's for a court to determine.
They will determine, but we're talking about the one that has been done by this Federal High Court.
You mentioned...
Who, ab initio, in December 2025, dismissed PMP. Look at the word he used in describing them. Purported.
Right.
Purported. Once you say that something is purported, it means that it does not exist.
Well, as I said...
So if he denied them that legal clothing in 2025 December, when he delivered this judgment, how can he now turn around and begin to say that they are in existence,
well,
and that they're entitled to be heard.
You've made that.
And we also know that a judge who is hearing a matter can suo motu order that a party that is necessary be joined. And when he considered this matter, he didn't regard them as consequential.
Yeah,
they don't exist.
But you're going to have
he dismissed it. So he's bound by this decision.
You're going to have to make that.
It's going to be a ground of appeal against his judgment, because he had dismissed.
That's an argument.
He had already dismissed PMP by calling it a supported association.
You've made that.
He cannot claim them with a legal right.
That's an argument.
When he has become functus official.
Yeah, you've made that.
If you deliver judgment finally and there's no fraud, the judgment is not taken by fraud. The judgment was not delivered without jurisdiction. No, it's very key.
No, but you've made the point.
People should continue to hear it.
Yes,
I have to draw because the judge had no reason.
I need to move.
He had no reason
I need
at all.
to move the conversation forward.
Okay.
Because you have made that point repeatedly.
You should be well taken.
And
just to show that there was no reason.
You have made to oblige them. The next thing now you're going to say we ran out of time and we didn't.
No, if it's only this one that I'm able to discuss, I'm fine with it. Because the judge cannot approbate. I'm
afraid, Senator Umeh, this is not a court of law.
So
therefore, the point you're making is a point you need to emphatically make at the Court of Appeal.
Nigerians are listening to us.
We need to move on.
Nigerians are listening to us. We also need to know that the judge acted without jurisdiction.
You have made
they have to know that, because it's a political matter. The point in NDC waiting to go to election with this party. People are following the party to vote for candidates of this party, and certainly the man cut everybody off.
We have to have a civilized discussion.
No, it's a civilized discussion.
If you make your point, you allow the other person to make their point. Peter Obi has become the public face of the NDC. Yeah. How concerned is he personally about this development? Has this ruling altered his political calculation in any way?
Well, Mr. B is somebody who, you say you want it to be civil, is a civilized human being. And he has given a measured reaction to this. That this is not sustainable. That this action of the Federal High Court in Abuja, in Ilokoja, to do and undo is not sustainable. It creates confusion in the democracy we have. How can people labor all this while building a momentum to go to an election, and suddenly you remove the pin from it? Right. You just put a needle in the tube, and everything collapses.
Right.
How can he be happy? Nobody will be happy.
Well, let me take that. Yeah, let me take that a bit further. If the courts ultimately rule against the NDC, what does that mean for his presidential candidacy? And is there a contingency plan?
You know that all primaries ended on 30th of May. That is even why Nigerians will look at the action of this judge with very amount of seriousness, because it's like you have been shut out completely. And his action has shut out the party completely. And that's what we're saying, that it cannot be. He would have come out to direct INEC to deregister NDC. He didn't do that. He said that he's setting his judgment aside. What is his judgment? Compelling INEC to register NDC. INEC has registered NDC. His action and order has been obeyed, given effect, produced all kinds of situations, and he now says go back to beginning, status quo ante bellum. He cannot do that. That's not the way law functions. You have to weigh the interests of justice in the decisions you are going to reach. How does it affect all the parties? There are only two parties here, NDC and the purported PMP. Who is to lose from his order? It's only NDC. The other party that he gave the ruling in its favor has not, it has even gone away. They don't have members. They don't have officers. They don't have nobody. And you have used them to dismantle the programs of a political party that has been registered by INEC, complied with all the processes for nominations and all that. And have you considered the amount of money invested in the process by the members of the Nigerian public, the citizens of this country, who took part in the processes NDC has midwifed into the election. So he didn't consider it.
Right.
He didn't consider it. So what I'm saying is that for the way it is today, it's not about asking us where are we going again. The door has been shut. 30th of May, that's when it ends. The only window that is open will be substitution in another political party. If somebody withdraws there, the question will be, will all the members of NDC, over 1,000 candidates they've nominated nationwide in Nigeria, will all of them now go into another party and ask all of them to step down so that all of them will substitute into it? The answer is it is impossible.
Yeah.
Practically impossible. So the only justice of this matter will be to set aside this obnoxious, unsustainable ruling of Justice Issa Dashin, because it was done without prudence. He didn't do it with any prudence. He would have weighed the implication of this action, and he started it all. He would have asked NDC to go home. You can't compel INEC to register you. This situation will not be there. But in his own judgment and the consideration, particularly dismissing this PMP in his judgment, he cannot come back and use them to disable NDC.
Right.
He cannot do that. Okay. We are in Nigeria, and everybody is entitled to protection of the law. Yeah. So both us in NDC are entitled to protection of the law of Nigeria. Yeah. So indulging someone who is not a legal entity and using to destroy a legal entity, the law will frown at it.
Okay.
So the justice of this matter will be to set aside, to throw away his ruling, would reprimand by the Court of Appeal, I must tell you.
Well, let me just say that I wish all of you the very best, because, I mean, whoever requires that justice be done and needs justice and is rightfully entitled to justice, let them get it.
Tell us that
and let me also say, let me also say that in the best interests of journalism, because just as you're seeking propriety in the courts of law, we also have to be proper.
Yeah, sure.
The Peace Movement Party has a right of reply. So if they want to come in and respond to the allegations
call them tomorrow,
then they're perfect.
And when it's necessary, can bring us together. Two parties together. Okay. We can come here. They won't have the shame.
Senator, I got to run.
They won't be back here because they have nothing to bring.
Okay. Senator Victor,
no certificate,
representing Anambra Central.
They don't have any certificate.
Is a